For this project, what we have here for supplies is we have 2 white shoelaces, okay? We have some shoes that were getting a little too small, so we're gonna steal the shoelaces to do this project. We also have water and paintbrushes, as well as some temper cakes. If you don't have temper cakes, you can definitely use watercolors, or you can use regular liquid paint as well. I just chose these because they'll dry quickly. What we're gonna be doing with our shoelaces.
I'm gonna guess that we're painting our shoelaces.
That's correct, Violet. So we're gonna first wait.
I want a crayon.
You'd like to guess?
I'm guessing that we're doing something like drawing.
Yeah, something like drawing. We will be doing something like drawing in a little bit. Make sure we don't put this in our mouth. Okay.
We start sometimes and play together.
Yes. Can you put your shoelace back on your parchment paper? First thing we have to do when we're using temper cakes or watercolors is we dip our brush in our water and we're going to drip. We dip and drip. This is going to wake up our paints because when our paint is dry, it's kind of like it's taking a nap. So we're going to dip and drip. We want to get each color that we plan on using a little drink of water to wake it up. They're very dry right now. Okay?
I'm gonna paint mine right now!
So as soon as your paint is woken up, then you can do a gentle brush, brush, brush. Very nice, Dottie. I like how you're gently touching on the colors. Gently rubbing. We're not scrubbing it. It's not a toilet we need to clean, right? We're just sweep, sweep, sweep with our brush. We're going to get a lot of paint on our brush, and then we're just going to touch on our shoelace because our shoelace is made of cotton, so it should soak up the color and kind of suck the color in. So we shouldn't need a whole lot, and it'll spread it out. So we're going to touch on our shoelace and watch it fill with color. You can even make a little puddle. See how Dottie made a little puddle on her parchment paper? And you can just lay your shoelace right in the little puddle.
I'm just going to try to make mine a little clean.
Okay, so we're going to spend some time coloring our shoelaces.
Hi.
And making them as colorful as we can. So we ran and put our shoelaces in the dryer so that they can get dry. One thing we discovered when we were doing this though, is that Dottie actually took her shoelace and put the entire shoelace inside the water cup, and that made the shoelace wet, and it actually helped absorb the colors better. So if you're using watercolor or liquid watercolor or temper cakes like we are, I would make sure that your shoelace is either soaking wet or maybe just a little bit damp. Helps make it go a lot faster. Violet's took a lot longer because she didn't do that. The other thing that we saw is because we put paper underneath our shoelaces, we got some really pretty artwork. So we're gonna let this stuff dry, and then we're gonna go on to the next project. So for the next part of our project, we have a big sheet of construction paper and a small sheet of construction paper. All we did for this is we took a yellow piece of construction paper and cut it in half. But I did also cut a little bit extra off, just so that we'd have more space up here at the top. But you can just cut yours in half if you want. Or if you only want to use one color, you can also take a piece like this and fold it a little bit, not all the way corner to corner, but fold it down a little bit like this. And you can use it this way too. Basically what we're trying to create is a pocket, but we're gonna need to sew our pocket so it's very strong. And we're gonna be sewing using our shoelaces. We just got our shoelaces out of the dryer. They were only in there for about 5 minutes, and they're pretty much dry. I'm gonna be using my glue stick, and I'm gonna make sure that I don't push my glue stick up too high. If I put it too high, does anybody know what happens?
No. It falls out.
Yeah, it can fall out or get smushed all over the place, and then we can't use it. So I'm going to make sure that I don't have so much pushed up. So I'm going to put this one back down. I only need a little bit sticking out of the top. He's just kind of peeking out of the top of his container. Okay, then I'm going to do is I'm going to take my smaller sheet of paper if I have it. If you're using a folded sheet of paper, you can skip this part. I'm going to take my smaller sheet of paper and I'm going to trace the short sides of my paper only. I'm not going to do the long edges of my rectangle, only the short edges.
Yeah.
So we're going to just draw a line right along the edge, sitting on your bottom, Violet. Just on the edges. Violet, can you do that on yours? And then what we're going to do on Dottie's is I'm going to line it up like this, and we're going to put these short edges right along the same edges of the big sheet, lining up our corner to our corner. Dottie, can you give it a rub, 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 rub? A nice massage. Oh, that feels so good. Our paper loves a good massage. We're even going to flip our paper over. Ready? We're going to flip our paper over to the back and give him another massage on the back. Oh, that feels so good. Massage. Got yours glued on, Violet?
Yeah.
Okay, when we put our caps on our glue stick, it's really important that we listen for a very special sound. Ready? Click. If we don't hear the click, that means it's not closed. It's very important we have a tight close on our glue stick. So for the next part of our project, we're going to use a hole puncher. Daddy, can you lift up your arm? What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make some holes going all the way around our bottom sheet of paper, but not at the top. This part is going to be our pocket, so we cannot put holes here. We're going to go around the short side where we put the glue, and then around the bottom. Short sides and the bottom. If you're using a folded piece of paper, same thing. Short sides and the bottom, okay? When we use our hole punch, it's really important that we try to make sure if yours has a little guard like this, that we're gonna slide the paper right in there. That's where his mouth is. I always like to pretend on my hole puncher that he's got a big tooth right there, and that's his tongue. And he's actually gonna bite right through his tongue because his tongue has a big hole in it. We don't bite through our tongues, though. That would hurt. So I'm going to put it under the tongue.
We bite with our tooth.
We bite with our teeth. That's right. So we're going to punch some holes all the way down the edge. As a parent, you might want to think about putting some little pencil dots where you'd like them to punch their holes. Otherwise, they might do too many, and it might be too hard for them. So after they're done with their hole punches, the next thing that they were working on is they were doing a little bit of coloring on the yellow part of their paper. Since Violet's taking a little extra time on hers and Dottie was done, I'm going to read her story, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I always think of the Very Hungry Caterpillar whenever I use a hole puncher because of all the holes that the caterpillar eats through the paper, or through the fruit, I should say. The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. In the light of the moon lay a little egg on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up, and pop! Out of the egg came a very tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food, and on Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. On Thursday, he ate through 1, 2, 3, 4 strawberries. But he was still hungry.
You did this first.
On Friday, he ate through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 oranges. But he was still hungry. On Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop.
I'm done now.
Okay. 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. That night he had a stomachache. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. The next day was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through 1 nice green leaf. After that, he felt much better. But now he wasn't hungry anymore. And he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar. Thank you, Dottie. That's a nice hug. He built a small house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and he was a beautiful butterfly. Beautiful. So now that we're done with our story, we're done with our hole punches, and we're done coloring, now we're going to take our shoelaces and some tape. It is a good way to do this. You can try to tie it in a knot, but I feel like a lot of times when we do that, then kids might accidentally pull it out. So we're going to put our shoelace through the first hole, tape it on the back. Make sure you give it a really good massage. Really good massage.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, Violet, can you show us how we go up through the hole, down through the hole, up through the hole, down through the hole? Okay. So Violet first came up through the hole, then she's going down through the hole, up through the hole, down through the
But
hole.
first, this one now I'm going to go to the same hole I just went through. Pull it up. Hey.
Oh, so Violet just discovered that if you go through the same hole, it will undo what you just did.
See, I'm doing
Okay?
it.
You can also go around the outside edge if you want to do what's called a whip stitch. But for this, I usually teach a running stitch because it's very simple and they have to really think about what they're doing. So I'm going to poke through just a little bit on the back with Dottie's shoelace, and I'm going to use the tape to hold it down. Good rub, Dottie. Good rub. Rub, 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 rub. Very nice. Okay? So then your shoelace is on the top. We're going to pretend like this is the surface of the water of a swimming pool. This is underneath the swimming pool. This is the air above the swimming pool. So right now our shoelace is breathing the air, but it takes a big breath. Dive down into the water. Oh, you can do a back stitch, sure. Okay.
Imagine we
Dive
go in
down.
the pool. Can we go in the pool?
I know I shouldn't have brought it up, should I? Yeah, I'm sorry, it's too cold outside. Okay, so we go down and now we're under the water. And we need to come back up for air. Big breath when we come up. Oops. Whew, Daddy, can you pull here?
Sure.
Yeah, very nice. We want to make sure that we're not leaving a whole lot of extra shoelace dangling in the water, because otherwise we won't have enough to go all the way around to make our pocket.
See, I don't have enough.
Yeah, so Violet's trying to do a back stitch. So she's using a lot of extra thread on the back, or a lot of extra shoelace, so she might not have enough to go all the way around. So we might have to do a running stitch, or we can try a whip stitch, Violet. Do you want to see that?
Stitch.
So for a whip stitch, thank you, Dottie. Can you sit on your chair? For a whip stitch, we go around the paper and down through the hole. Around the paper, down through the hole. This is easier if your child has never sewn anything before because they know they're always going down through the hole.
I do.
So, just so that everyone can get a better idea of how to do the running stitch, again, you're going to pretend that your piece of paper is the surface of the water, and underneath the water, you need to make sure you come up for air. So right now, my shoelace is under the water, swimming around. I need to have him poke up through the hole, take a big breath, and then I'm going to pull him tight to make sure that this is tight on the back. I don't want to have a big loop left back here because then I might not have enough string to get all the way around. I'm going to pull that tight on the back. Now he's sitting on top of the water and he wants to go swim again. So he's going to dive back down under the water. Oh, better come back up for air. Always making sure we're coming through the holes, because if you go around the edge, you can do that if you have a long shoelace, but mine's not long enough to make it all the way around if I do that. So if you do have a very long shoelace and you want to go around the edge like this, you can. And that way you're only ever coming up through the hole, around the side, up through the hole. You can do that and it looks really cool, but I don't have enough string. If you do it this way, around the side, up through the hole, that's called a whip stitch. You're whipping your string around the edge. But I'm working on a running stitch now. The other cool thing that you can try if you have some supplies at home is I have some beads here. These little beads like this are called pony beads. Not sure why they're called pony. They don't look like a horse to me. But I have some different pony beads, and if I want to, I can put them on the string while my shoelace is up on the surface of the water. They're above the water. So I can put my bead on my shoelace, slide it down, and then when I dive back down under the water, then I'll have a bead floating on top. You can do more than one bead. You can kind of decorate these however you want. Just making sure that when we're doing a running stitch, we're going down, back up, down, back up, down, back up. Maybe we'll put one more bead on. That was kind of fun. Put my bead on, down through the hole, pulling it nice and tight. Okay, when I get to the end, I'm just going to flip it over and tape the back of my shoelace at the other end when I'm all done sewing. So I'm done sewing now, but I have a bit of a problem. If I go down through this hole and then back up my last hole, then I'm going to have to tape the end of my shoelace on the front of my project. And I don't really want to see the tape. Here's a couple of choices for you if this happens to you. First choice is I can try to sneak down this other hole with my friend before. That would be called a back stitch. I can do that, and now my tail is on the back and I can tape it down. Or another choice that I have, I just back this up, beep, 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 is I can skip that hole and my shoelace will kind of cover it up. So I'm going to skip this one, go right to the next one. And my shoelace hides that other hole right behind it, so you can't see it much. That way, I can flip it over and put my tape on the back. Whichever way works best for you, whatever you think looks the best, you go ahead and do. Then I'm finished with my pocket after I tape the back. And if you try it out, you can find something to hide in your pocket. This project goes really well with a Dr. Seuss book called There's a Walk-It in My Pocket. If you can, check it out.